Perek Mishna Yud Aleph. In this Mishnah, we're really comparing and contrasting the halachas of metal ovens and earthenware ovens, because there are a lot of halachic differences between them. We have over here a taner shel cheres, an oven of earthenware. So the pasuk by earthenware oven says yutas. You have to demolish it to make it tar. You can't simply dip it in a mikvah like you could for a metal oven, a taner shel matches. You could dip it in a mikvah. And not only that, since the pasuk says yutats, demolished, that implies that it was connected to the ground. You're demolishing something that was connected to the ground, and therefore that shows you that a taner of earthenware is even tamei, even though it's connected to the ground, even though it's mechuber. Generally speaking, vessels can't become tamei if they're connected to the ground. So therefore, metal vessels, a metal oven, has to be tolish, has to be uprooted for it to become tamei. And then there are the general differences between metal and earthenware vessels. A metal vessel can contrast or transmit tumah through its airspace. It has no airspace. But a taner shel cheres, and earthenware vessels, can contrast and transmit tumah through their airspace. A taner shel cheres can never become an avatumah, just like normal earthenware vessels cannot become an avatumah. But a metal vessel can become an avatumah, like if it touches a mace, it will become an avatumah. Metal vessels can become tamei migaboy, from their outside. If tumah touches the outside of metal vessels, they'll become tamei. But taner shel cheres, earthenware vessels, can never become tamei from their outside. If tumah touches the outside of earthenware vessels, the vessels remain tar. So there are different properties and character traits of earthenware vessels and earthenware ovens and metal vessels. So the Mishnah says taner shel even, an oven of stone. Now stone never can become tamei. V'shel matches, or an oven made out of metal, tahar is tahar, meaning that it's tahar from the properties of earthenware vessels. It can't become tamei like earthenware vessels. V'tamei mishum kli matches, but a metal oven can still become tamei like metal vessels can. It's just tahar from the earthenware properties. Now, what if you have a metal vessel that got broken, but you've repaired it with clay? So does it have clay properties? Can it become tamei and transmit tumah like clay because you fixed it with clay? Or maybe it retains its metal status. So the Mishnah says, nikav, if the metal oven got a hole, or nifgam, or its rim cracked, or nistak, or it got a crack down the side. So you have a metal oven that got a hole in it, or its rim got cracked, or it got cracked down the side, and these deficiencies actually break the oven, right? You don't need to demolish a metal oven to make it tahar. Even a crack that ruins the functionality makes it broken. So the crack, right, heat will leave through the crack or the hole, and the cracked rim, it makes it less than 4 tefachim tall, which is the minimal height of an oven. So the Mishnah says, also like tefela, if you've made a coating of clay to repair the hole in the crack, or most of shel tit, or if you added a rim of tit to repair the rim, so tamei, it's tamei like earthenware vessels, because you've repaired it with earthenware. So look here, we have a metal broken oven, but since you fixed it with tit, with clay, so now the halachos of this metal oven has to conform with the earthenware halachos, because you fixed it and you've made it usable with earthenware. Now, kama yehe benekev, how big does the hole need to be to make it broken? Kidei sheyetze bo ha'or, enough for the flame to leave through the hole. If the hole is big enough for a flame to fly through, so that hole ruins the oven. V'chein b'kira, and similarly with a kira, which is an oven that has 2 burners on it, if there's a hole in it the size of a flame, then the kira is tahar. So now with the kira, the halachas change a little bit. So the Mishnah says, kira. Now remember, let's go down here, because a kira has 2 burners on it. And the point of these stovetops wasn't to bake with the walls, like you do with the oven, you slap pizzas on the oven walls. But the kira, the walls are just really meant to create a base to put pots on. So it has to be very sturdy to create a base. And therefore, if it got a crack or a hole on the walls, that's really inconsequential. It doesn't ruin the kira, because the main part is that it has a sturdy base. So the Mishnah says, kira shel even, a stone kira, v'shel matches, or metal tahira, is tahar from the properties of earthenware. U'temeya mishum kli matches, but a metal kira still has its issues of metal vessels. Now what if it gets ruined? Nikva, if it got a hole. Now again, all these deficiencies happen at the base, which is the main part of the kira. As we said, if the walls of the kira got deficient, that doesn't ruin it. So nikva, if the base got a hole, nifkama, if the base part a little bit cracked off, or nistika, or it just got a crack through the base. Also, loy pitputin, and you've made a clay tripod on this metal kira, so now you fixed it with a clay tripod. So now temeya, now it's tamei like clay. It has the properties of clay vessels now, because you fixed it with clay. Now the Mishnah discusses a case of a metal kira, which you've lined with cheres, either from the inside or from the outside. And the question is, does this metal kira, does it have the halachas of a metal kira, or does it take on the new properties of the cheres because you've lined it with cheres? And the Mishnah rules that since the metal kira doesn't need the earthenware linings, because you don't need the walls to retain the heat to cook these pots. These pots cook from the fire, but in the oven, from the heat rising from the fire. It doesn't cook with the walls. It's not like an oven where you cook with the walls, so you want the walls to retain the heat. Over here, the walls are just to create a support for the pots. And therefore, the earthenware is inconsequential, and it doesn't change the halachas of this metal kira. So the Mishnah says, let's read it inside, Mircha betit. If you smear a metal kira with tit, with earthenware, with klei cheres, bein mi bifnim, whether from the inside, and bein mi bachutz, or whether from the outside, tahira, it's tahar from the properties of earthenware, and retains its metal status. Rabbi Yehuda says, mi bifnim tameya. If you line the inside of a metal kira with cheres, then it does take on the properties of cheres. It's tameya with the properties of cheres. Just like if you remember from Mishnah Yud in this Perek, in last Mishnah, let's pull it up here, the Yeres Ha'arbiyim, that if you line the floor with earthenware, so then it's Tameh, so long that the earthenware can stand up by itself. So too in our Mishnah, Rabbi Yehuda says, if you line the inside with earthenware, then it takes on earthenware properties. But the Tanna Kama argues, because he holds this case is different than the Yeris Ha'arbim, than the Arabian pots. Because in this case, you're lining a metal kira, and a metal kira is chashiv, it's not batal, it's not nullified to the earthenware insert. And the halacha accords with the Tanna Kama. Either way, the Mishnah ends off that umi bachutz tahira, that even Rabbi Yehuda holds if you line the outside of a metal kira with earthenware, it's completely tahar from earthenware properties. Now it's your turn to read the Mishnah.